Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the Boost. Happy Monday for those that are here live. Happy whatever day week it is for you. Thanks so much for joining us on the Boost. We're following up on what we spoke about in the past week and a half. Confidence, how critical it is, how important it is in your life, in our lives, to understand that so much of success and failure comes from taking the chance. And so much of taking the chance comes from not arrogance but confidence. And how do we get it? And where we left off last week, which I want to pick up this week, is in the world of vision. And this really is, I think, an area of discussion, an area of introspection, in which the intuitive way of understanding how to get more confidence, it's like pump yourself up. Like, watch a couple of videos and get some good music going behind you and listen to the right soundtracks and here we go. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And that could work, but there's a much more powerful way that's less intuitive. And that's what we spoke about last week, which is the idea that the way you build confidence in yourself really begins with being able to see it in others. That sounds counterintuitive. In fact, it's the other way. People say, in order to give to others, your cup has to be full. Great. I got it. But let's talk about how to fill up your cup. Last week, if you remember, we discussed how beer works in certain stadiums. I don't know how all stadiums that I saw, the one stadium that I saw, I don't make it look like I'm hanging out in the behind the scenes in the beer rooms of stadiums. I went one time. But it was worth it because it was pretty cool to see on the third floor mezzanine section a empty kiosk area. I don't know, bar. I don't know I don't know what they're called in the games when you wait online at these things. Food stand. And the person who helped build this massive stadium showed me how when you pull the lever down, the tap, it actually connects to a pipe that connects to a pipe that connects to a pipe that goes to some massive room on the top of the building that draws down that particular beer. So the way you fill up, there's plenty of beer. You don't have a keg on the bottom. All you got to do to fill up the beer is pull down the lever. Now, when you give somebody something, just go through your life and figure it out. Just think about it. Some of the most insightful moments that you've had in your life, I am sure, came when you gave someone advice and then took a minute and said, wait, that really does apply to me. Do you ever have that moment where someone comes with something and someone needs something? That someone could be a friend, a family member, a child, a relative, I don't know. Someone's asking you for advice and you give it to them, and then when you're done giving them that advice, you say to yourself, man, I wish I can put that into practice. Do you ever have that feeling? What happened there? What happened there was God's way of getting you to think something that you could never have thought on your own. You knew it already, but you don't think it. Right? You knew that you should do this. You know you should live in the now. Yesterday I had an event. I went to someone was getting married and they had an engagement party and I went. And so I was talking to the father and he says to me, I said to him, slow it down. He's like, what? I'm like, slow it down. Slow down these moments. Actively slow them down. Don't worry about I see him looking at the door. I'm worried about the food. His head was oh, stop. Chill. Don't worry about the food. We're cool. Food's okay. No one remembers the food. Don't worry about the door. Don't worry about who's coming. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about that. Don't stop. You're at an engagement party. Kid's getting married. You're not. You're gonna miss this moment. And you're not going to get it back. So stay here. And he's like, you know what, you're right. And I'm like, wow, I should really do that myself. And I walked away thinking, like, am I in every moment? No. At all. Like, when I'm doing what I'm doing, am I, like, in it? Or am I, like, thinking of 50 things? So, when I feel overwhelmed with the stuff I have to do, and I'm not in the moment that's in front of me, I don't, like, go to, oh, yeah, let me go back there in my brain and pull out the be in the moment speech. It doesn't work like that. I know it. You know it. We've heard it 100 times. We know it's right. Why can't we pull it up? Because it doesn't work like that. Because the intellect can't override the emotion. You can know something is right and still not know how to do it because your emotion is blocking you from having your intellect. If you're a person that is so well trained, great. Most people aren't. So the disconnect is that most people have the information but don't know how to access it because what's in front of them is emotionality that blocks them from logic. There's a great psychologist named David Pelkowitz. Amazing person, amazing psychologist, like everything. I look up to him enormously. And I remember once him giving a speech about some phenomena that he spoke about, which is that lots of people that are mental health professionals, they're psychologists, they're psychiatrists, they're social workers, a lot of them have issues in their own lives that seemed simple to solve, and they're not solving it. Like, people that are giving advice to others seem to have the problem in their house. And at first, there's a lot of shame in that because I should have it figured out. Like, I'm giving someone else marital advice. How come I don't have the best marriage? I'm giving somebody else, parenting advice. How come I'm not the best parent? Right? I'm giving somebody else, anxiety advice. Like, people that are spending their lives telling people what to do, they got to have the perfect lives, and many of them don't. And he was speaking about it, and it was fascinating how he's now in his career, in his life, at that moment, getting calls because he's been doing this for so long and he's so well respected from professionals now that were calling and saying, like, how do I reconcile this? Like, I must be a fraud. And he goes, you're not a fraud. He goes, I must be because my own advice isn't working in my life. And he's tried to explain that it's not about your life. You can't take your advice and turn it inward. It's much harder. It's your life. There's emotionality. It's easier to give someone advice than to hear it yourself. That's not because something's wrong with you, because you're a human being. There's no emotionality when it's someone else's life. You can see clearly. There's no hard feelings. There's no biases. There's no hurt. There's no baggage in that world. But when it's your life, it's not just advice. The advice has to navigate through all that emotionality. So then how do you remind yourself of the things you have to be? How do you remind yourself? How do you keep yourself fresh? How do you get to a place in which you are able to follow the advice that you know? Pull on the tap. When you give it to others, it flows through your brain and out your mouth. It's in your it's in your mind. You just got to pull it out. I hope you're seeing the example, the beer example, right? When you speak, when you share, when you advise, when you care, you are giving over the things that you know to be true that you probably need for yourself that would never have come out if you're just worrying about yourself. It only comes out because you're giving it to somebody else. But once you're pulling on the tap, the beer is flowing through. The wisdom is coming through. The insights are coming through. And they're coming through more authentically because you're giving it to somebody else. So you don't have to worry about all that emotionality. You don't have to worry about all that hard feelings. You don't have to worry about all that baggage. You get to actually hear yourself say the thing that you need to hear, which is so many times how God sets it up for you. So giving insights, wisdom, ideas is really how you can get. Okay, we'll talk about this. All right, everybody, have a great day. God's help. Can't wait to see you again tomorrow.
Living on a lifeline. The world doesn't ever seem to change. Looking for the sunshine, but you're caught up in the rain. It's like your eyes are wide open, but you cannot see. You're watching life pass you by like 1, 2, 3. walking in destruction. The winds of life blur your vision, all the devastation. Forever feels like you're on the run, it's time. No one else can set you free, you're locked inside. And only you have got the key.